Hello, welcome to Mathis Digital. My name is Aaron, and today we are going to see multithreading in T24 core banking system. By the end of this lesson, we are going to have a good understanding on how to create multi-threaded routines in T24, how to create your own online service, and how to make your service part of COB process. I post on a regular basis videos like this. So if this is really interesting to you, if you want to master T24 core banking system, make sure you subscribe if you haven't, share and like this video. So let's get started. What is multi-threaded routine? Now, for me to be able to explain to you what a multi-thread routine is, I created a very simple routine. This is a very basic routine. Let me show it to you. My subroutine is called greeting service, and it has one parameter. So it receives one argument as a customer ID. And the job of this subroutine is to greet a customer in their own languages. So if they speak French, they should say bonjour. If they speak German, the routine should say Guten Morgen. Assume this is going to be run in the morning. If the customer speaks Spanish, should say Buenos dias. And if they speak English, of course, it's going to say good morning. So assume this is going to run in the morning. Here, I'm just opening the customer file. I'm initializing these variables, the customer file, and I'm opening the customer file, and I am outputting in the comma a message saying processing the customer ID which we have received. Now after that, this routine is going to read the customer file, trying to find this ID. If it can't find this customer in the customer file, it's going to output in a comma an error message saying no customer record found with this ID. Now, if everything is okay, it's going to extract the customer name and the language, because you want to greet the customer by their name and in their own languages. So, of course, if the language is 1, it's good morning, the message is good morning. If the language is 2, because in our system 2 is French, let me show you how we have it. So we have a language in our system. So 1 is English, 2 is French, 3 is German, and 4 is Spanish. So this is the reason why I said if the language is 4, we should say Buenos dias. Now after that, it's going to output in comma a message saying message and the greeting. So now our greeting is either good morning, bonjour, guten morgen, or buenos dias with the name of the customer, an exclamation point. That's all. Our routine is very simple, and I'm going to share the source code after this recording. Now, to be able to test this subroutine, I've created a very simple program which will prompt the user to provide the customer ID and call our subroutine. So what subroutine is going to do its job. This is just to test our subroutine to make sure it is working properly before we move to more complex tasks like making it a multi-thread. Now let me run this program to show you how it works. So our program is called Test Greeting Service. It requires the ID. Let me put the first ID. The system says processing this customer ID, which we supplied, and the message, good morning, Andrew Cooper, because the language of Andrew is English. Now let's find someone who speaks French. We run our program, we supply the ID. It says bonjour François Pinot. Good. So this customer speaks Spanish. Let me confirm. All right, it says Buenos dias, Bruno, and you can see. Now, I think I have someone also who has German as a language. All right, Guten Morgen, Daniel. It is working properly. Now, if you give it a custom which does not exist, for instance this, it says error and no customer record found with this ID. So very basic, but this is going to help us to demonstrate our concept of multi-threading. Now, how does multi-thread work in T24? There's a routine which is called batch.job.control, which does all the magic, basically. Now, for that routine to do the magic, to split our subroutine into different threads and run them simultaneously, we need to transform our subroutine into this structure. We need to have, of course, our routine, which we have in this case, greeting service. Along with this routine, we need to have another routine with .load, another with .select, and also an insert file. So our routine name, and .common. So these are 4 pieces which are required to create a multi-threaded routine. Now, how the process works, batch.job.control, we first locate this routine .load. So in our case, it's going to be greeting.service.load, which initializes all the variables and also opens the file. So things which we have here, this needs to be moved to another subroutine with .load. Now, after that, batch.job.control executes another routine with .select. Now, this is going to be greeting.service.select. So our job here is to prepare a file with all the IDs to be processed. In our case, we want to select all the customers which we have in the system and building the list in this routine. Batch.job.control launches this subroutine, and then it creates a file, and that file .list contains all the IDs to be processed. After that, the same subroutine, batch.job.control, creates copies of this main routine. These are threads. It creates different threads and it runs them simultaneously. Now, it picks ID from that list which has been created and supply it as an argument to this routine. This is the reason why we have this routine accepting one argument as ID. Batch.job.control will pick ID from the list and supply to the copies of this same subroutine, or to the thread rather, and dynamically decides which ID to supply to which thread. Okay, so it's the job of batch.job.control to pick the ID from the list and give it to the thread, different threads. Okay, now we don't see that part, but our job is to create this structure. We already have this routine, but also containing different information which we need to split in different subroutines, .load, .select, and we also need to have the insert file. Now let's do that. Okay, so if you look at the structure here, I've already created the structure. I have .load, but of course it is empty because we only have the name and the insert, so the body is empty. Same as .select, it's empty, and greeting.common, it's also empty. Let's start with maybe the pieces which are already here. Like this part, as we said, this needs to be located in .load. So we're going to cut this. Save, put in .load. because this is the job of .load routine. Now, before we forget, we need to have the insert file in all our subroutines. So let me copy the name of this insert file, and I'm going to insert it in all our subroutines. So the insert, I can copy probably this, it's going to be easier. And in load as well, we have it, and in select. So this is a must. You need to have this in all your 3 subroutines. Now, how about let's maybe start defining the common area for this subroutine, because so to define a common area in T24, we use keyword common, and we give it the name. The name should match with the name of our subroutine, which is greeting.svc. That's the name. And then we can put all the variables which we want to initialize. In our case, we have, if you look at this load, we have this customer name, customer file name, so it needs to be initialized. Let's also have the fcustomer file as well. Let's check in our main routine. We have other variables like these variables and these 2 variables. Let's have it, which we have here, okay. Which other variables we have a common? Maybe we can keep this, it's okay. So we have our insert file, and it's already included in our all subroutines. Now, let's move to the second part. This is select. Now, select, we need to create the command, selection command. We need to select all the customers. Command, which just says select So I'm referring to the name which we declared, okay? Naming of cast, and this is what we have, okay? Remember? And we don't have any selection criteria, it's just selecting everything. Okay, good. So basically, if you run the same command here, like it's going to be select fbnk.customer. We can see in our model bank we have 407 customers. This is what we perform. After having this command, let's execute our command. Let's use a Temenos subroutine to read the list. Okay, this is a core subroutine, read the list. It accepts the command and it returns a list of IDs and the total numbers. So we can initialize this as well. We can have this being initialized. Now, once we have this list, what we need to do, we need to call another routine which creates .list file. Remember, this is what batch.job.control we look for. For that, we use another subroutine, Temenos subroutine, which is called batch.build.list. So batch.build.list accepts two arguments. So the first one is empty. We'll keep it empty, the first one. And the second one, we give it this list. So this is going to create keys which will be supplied to the job. And basically, we are done with these other subroutines. If you have all the parts. So we have .load, we have .select, we have our main routine, and we have idle common. So let's compile these two routines, because the main routine, we are going to compile all the routines because we have made changes on the main routine as well. So let's do that. We have selected, let's start with load. I'm going to grab the name. Let me do this. jet.mathc.bp, the name .p. So I'm going to grab the source codes. I paste all my source codes here. Control V, it's properly aligned. Save. But if I try to compile, it's going to raise an error because you don't have the insert file. So let me quickly create this insert file. I'm going to copy everything here. Now this is I underscore the name of our command, not .b, because this is an insert file, it's not a routine. And I'm going to paste our common area, FI, that's all. Now let's try to compile our first subroutine. .load, it should compile. Oh no, yes, yeah, I think I made a mistake in the insert, because I've just saved this in mathc.bp, so I need to reference it properly. So this should be in mathc.bp. Okay, let me make sure I do the same in all subroutines, because it is not in .bp, it is located here. And in greetings also I do the same. All right, I think this is okay now. So let me copy again the source code. Let me delete this one. All right, F5. Let me compile. Let's compile use basic minus I T24 pp. That's compiled properly, so meaning everything is okay, because we don't have any warnings. I can catalog as well. All right, cataloged successfully. Now let me create the other routine. The second routine is going to be select, grab the name, so I can do this. .b, sorry. Now let me grab the source codes. I paste it here. Control V, it's properly aligned. F5. I can also compile. Now here I have select. All right. You can also catalog, by the way. Let's do that. Catalog. All right. Now, let me move to the main routine. And this one, I already have it, but I need to update it. So this is going to be .b, just .b. I'm going to delete the existing one and paste the source code, F5. Let me compile as well. All right, it's compiled successfully, and we can catalog. All right. So everything looks okay. Just final review. Make sure we have all the pieces. I can say everything's okay now. Now we have already created our subroutine, so this part is already done. So what you need to do, we need to create an entry in PGM.FILE and with the name of our subroutine. So let's do that very quickly. Our subroutine is called, let me do it. So we do PGM.FILE, the version is not there, so I need to hit manual and authorize. But instead, let me create the version very quickly. So version PF, 1146. It's going to be 0. All right. So PGM.FILE and the name of our service. The type should be B because a batch. Now we can say greeting service. The product, let's say it's going to be EB. All right. Now, what is the next step? The next step, we need to create an entry in batch. So I'm following our documentation here. So these 2 steps are already done. We're going to create an entry in batch. To do that is very simple. You do batch and you give it an ID. No, sorry, again, the version is missing. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a version for that. 0 authorization, because I don't want to authorize again. So it's a batch, 1, 1. So 46 want to be 0. Okay. So now I can do batch. Let's have BNK on the name of our service. Not coming. It's okay. I can type it. It's called greeting.svc. Now we are going to create it as an online service. We test it. If it's working properly, we are going to make it as part of COB, because we want to be able to test it in online without running a COB. Okay, let's do that very quickly. So environment, batch environment, we use foreground. The job name should be the same, the name of our routine, which is greeting.svc. Now we can define the frequency. Let's say we run it daily. But again, this does not matter for now because it's not yet a COB batch. But let's define it this way. Assume it's going to be running every day basis. We are done. Now let's create this service. And to create a service, we use TSA.SERVICE, TSA.SERVICE, and the name is going to be the same. It's bnk.greeting.svc. Now the description is greeting service. Work profile, let's use the same one with the COB. It's number 2. We can create our own. If you want to know how to create a workload profile, please check our video on COB processes. Okay, we have created one. So inputter, you can have for this as inputter, a generic user. And let's have this maybe put in start mode. It's okay. Or stop, because after running it's going to stop anyway. Now we are done. If you look at the documentation, what I've prepared for you, we are done. All the processes are done. Now let's test our service. So for that we need to start TSM. Okay. Now, since I want to monitor this, I want to show you how it works. Maybe it makes sense to have multiple screens. Okay, here I'm going to start TSM, TSA.SERVICE, TSM, by the way, it's in start mode. Let me stop it first. I'm sure if it. And let me start it again. Okay. Now I want to run this in debug mode. The reason, because I want to see the comma being printed. Okay. So we do start.tsm -debug. I hope you remember. If all these commands do not make sense to you, please watch our previous video on COB. We have covered all this. Now let's see. As you can see, we have our service is listed here. Now after starting at TSM debug mode, we need to start the new session. Let me do that quickly. Looks connecting. So here, let's run up to 3. We can run up to 4. You see, we have 22, 23, 24, and 25. Let me run. Run here, Aaron, and this one. Okay, it's not a requirement to run all the 4, so let's run 3 and see what's going to happen. So 22, 20, 23, 24. And 25 if you want. So I do TSA 22. As it's running quickly. By the way, all our customers are run by one. Before I could start the other, because it's so fast, so all the customers have been greeted. Good morning. Or okay, but again it's okay. We can run 23. TSA 23. No more jobs to run. So This is very fast, so I didn't manage to run all, but it's okay. What we can do, we can start again. So all our customers have been processed so quickly. 400 is it's very fast. But you can see the service run, and we have in we have our messages. Como list como. So we have this. Let's try to view all this. I don't know which one has data or not, but we have created the commas. You can see 22 and 23. But 22 will run twice. Let's pick this one. Let's view. I can do city como so now let's see standard routine, updating locking. So this is all it listed. Selective customer, it took 0 seconds to select all the list of customer. Building list passed. Okay. We have job list 1, processing this. So we have this customer. I say good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Most of customers speak English. It's no doubt. I just modified few of them. Let's see if we can find. Oh, I think I just seen one. Guten Morgen. So you can see I have Guten Morgen, Simon. And then a good morning. Good morning. We have Guten Morgen. Overhead. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. And it selects again. We have good morning, good morning. Guten Morgen, Daniel. And we can view all, but as you can see, our service is working properly. Now, we've done the job. As you can see, this is like a normal service you would expect. It's working properly. Now, how do we make this part of COB? Now, you already have the answer from the previous video, but let's do that together. So we do batch, and the name of our batch is greeting.svc. Now, the only thing we need to do is to define the stage. I don't know which one is available. Let me try to say it's going to run at the stage A, maybe 100. Yeah, in application 100. Like number 9 is free. So let's put it here. After this, let's have 009. Let's put it here. Because I don't want to wait long that the COB is completed. Let's have it in A009. Because this is free. All right. And that's all we have to do. Now, we need to start again our COB, basically. So we do TSA.SERVICE, and we do COB. Number 6, we do it start. Okay. To starting COB, let's start now. Let's run COB here. We do TSA. Let's check the wait a bit until it refreshes, because TSM needs to see the COB. Okay, yes. Now COB, we can run 22, 23, whatever. Let's run now 22 here. COB is initiated. We can also do COB monitor here. COB.monitor. I think, yeah, it has already done the job because we are now on 31. So let's check COMO because remember I put it at sorry, we can even stop it. I don't want to wait, but the application is almost complete. Let me check COMO again, list COMO. Or we can even see here where we launched it, but again it's already done, it's passed, we can't really see much. Let's see the files we have. So if you look at 22 again, we have the last one is this one, 1739. Again, this is going to be huge, but let's see the content. Can do city, this one. So they started single process. You still have COB here, COB. All these are COBs. Date changed, unauthorized. It's doing some other stuff. Let's move. All these are COBs, jobs which existed. So let me see if we can reach to our own. Yes, okay. See, we have reached already here. We have good morning, Pierre, and this is our service. See, it's running also as a part of COB. Guten Morgen, Konig. So from here, it is working. So to summarize, as you can see, we have today covered very important topic. We have seen how to create multi-threaded routines. We created a non-learn service which we successfully ran, and we have made our on-learn service a part of COB. So now if you want to send greetings, we know our program, our simple program is able to greet our customers in the background. Of course, they won't see these messages. So I hope you have enjoyed watching this video. You now know how to create multi-threaded routines, how to create your own service, and how to make your own service as a part of COB process. If you have enjoyed watching this video, please make sure you like it and share with your friends. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. See you next. Bye-bye.